All right, Shalom. This is Ariel Ben Yasharala out of GMS Lions Den. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. A double honors to the elders and the apostles at Great Millstone. And it's sincere the water to the Akim and Aquathim and the children that's believing and putting the work in for truth's sake. I want to get into a topic about sins of the father, and I'm just gonna get the first scripture. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 11. It says, "For the children not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahweh according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth." So where it says, for the children not being born, neither having done good nor evil, so that the purpose of Yahweh according to election might stand, not of works. So before you even born, it's not according to the works you do, it's according to but of him that calleth. So whatever Yahweh predestined you to be. So when people say so-called not so-called Edomites, but when Edomites out there saying, "Oh, I wasn't alive back then. I didn't whip those people. I didn't have no people in slavery." True, you yourself weren't, but your spirit was back in that day. And plus, you still profiting off that slavery that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the true Israelites of the Bible, did. So that it's right there in the scriptures that it doesn't matter. It does matter what you do in this life, but at the same time, it's already predestined before you even are born. I'm gonna go get my second scripture. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 21, and it says, "Prepare slaughter for the children for the iniquity of their fathers." So he prepared slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. So let's just say a Edomite who wasn't back then in that day, they didn't do anything or whatever, or like what they say, but because your ancestors did it, who would be called your forefathers, they did all that treachery. They didn't pay for it. Nobody in your bloodline has paid for it. So the Israelites prepare slaughter for the children for the iniquity of their father. So we're gonna slaughter the children for the iniquity of your father, because you reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. Because there has been no consequences for the treachery and wickedness that you've done. That they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So they're not. So when America is destroyed, they're not going to rise up, nor possess any land, nor fill the face of the world with cities, because this place is going to be utterly destroyed. So this place is going to be utterly destroyed, and they're never going to have rain or anything. Like they're not going to have. They're barely going to have. They're not going to have anything upon the face of this earth ever again. So Esau is going to get what they deserve. They did something wicked. Therefore, when you do something that you're not supposed to do, you got to get punished for that. And they're going to get punished by going through slavery for 1,000 years, by having their kingdom destroyed, and going into slavery. And that goes for everybody. And this is Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children." So that goes for the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That goes for who are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. That's talking about us, because we transgressed against the law. We was worshiping idols, and we were doing all this wicked stuff. Even at the exact moment when we came out of Egypt, we were going right back to wickedness. So where it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge," because this captivity, this slavery, is the worst slavery that we've ever been in, because we don't know who we are. And even more so back in these days, we did know who we are. We know who our God was, but we chose to worship idols and other guys and stuff like that, because thou hast rejected knowledge, because we rejected the law, the knowledge, truth, and wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I will also reject thee. And we're still doing that to this day. But the Wada Abba, we have people on the face of the earth that's waking up. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. And that's what happened to us. That's why we was in this captivity. And that we should be in the priesthood, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. And Duat Abba, which is thank the Father that that we're remembering the law of our Father. I will also forget thy children. And it's a horrible kid. This is like the worst captivity that we've been in, because we forgot who our Father was. So I'm gonna get the next scripture. So this is my next scripture right here. Is Baruch chapter 4 verse 6. It says, "You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved Yahweh to wrath. You were delivered unto your enemies." And we all know that so-called white man, who biblically is Edomite, they're our enemies since birth, since Genesis. We were fighting in the womb, so they're our enemies. And we were sold to the nations not for your destruction. You were sold to the nations not for your destruction. So we weren't in this captivity to be utterly and completely destroyed. We was only in here because we moved Yahweh to wrath. All right, we was only in here for a punishment. All right, we was only in time out. All right, now that being in this captivity, we see what true and utter destruction of our own spirit, and also destruction of this world, and what complete folly is. Like, we see that now. We know the wrong way to do things. That's like throughout all of America, we see the wrong way to do things. And so we're going to do the complete opposite and do everything completely right, according to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right. It says, verse 7, "For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God." So not to Yahweh. So we were, like going back to what I said earlier, was when we first came out of Egypt, all the Israelites, they forced Aaron to make a golden calf just so that way they can worship it. That's wicked. Verse 8, "Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Salaki, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you." So it's like, all this, all the wickedness that we did and are still doing, but the Wada Abba for the elect around the four corners of the world, who's pushing truth and sincerity, that we're being lifted up right now. So this captivity was not for our destruction. And for anybody who says otherwise, like I hear people say that even Khazars, the so-called fake, the not so-called, but the fake Jews. I was talking to one of them, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, yo, what tribe are you from? What tribe are your parents from?" No, I said, "What tribe are you from?" He's like, "Oh, well, there's only one tribe left. That's Judah. So I'm from Judah." But that don't make no type of sense, So Israel is not utterly destroyed, as it says right here in verse 6. "You were sold sold to the nations, not for your destruction." So that's blasphemy right there within itself. So we weren't sold unto our enemies for destruction. We were sold because we were being punished for what we did. So let me get my next scripture. It's 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 12. "But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak of evil things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption." And we all know that the so-called white man, who biblically are the Edomites, they are natural brute beasts, because they go off their own carnality, and they shall utterly perish in their own corruption. So the fact that they think that they themselves are gods, or the Khazars think that they're the Israelites, they're going to perish off their own corruption. They're a victim of their own foul play, because they're doing all this wickedness. They're making all this technology. They're making all these bombs. That technology, that wickedness, and those bombs and those weapons are going to be their downfall. Because they've done so much, and they have to pay for it. It's just common sense. You reap what you sow. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.